Hello YouTube. Today I'll be changing the spark plug on my Honda 2012 Honda Foreman 500, and we'll start off with taking off the seat. Got a little latch back here, just pull up on them. Should just lift right out. Pull off the side cover, just unsnaps those little pegs. See a spark plug right in there. Little tip, if you haven't changed your plug in a long while, like me, this one's actually the original one from factory, you're going to take and twist this left and right just a little bit until it breaks its little suction. That way you're not having to pull very hard. And before we take off the boot completely, it's a good idea to take and blow this out. Make sure no dirt's in there, because you don't want that getting into your motor. We just pull straight up. Sometimes you can wiggle a little bit. Set that aside. Somewhere. Now we'll double check if the socket's right. Yep. Socket I'm using is just a regular 5/8 sized spark plug socket. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Tightening. I've stripped way too many threads in aluminum-headed vehicles, so just be careful, take your time. It's okay to give her some penetrating oil. Wow, that's not coming out nice. It's kind of rough. You know, it looks pretty good. Probably didn't need to change it, but it's definitely getting some erosion. See, they used their split tip. Original one was an NGK. That's the original part. I'm actually going to put a iridium style plug in this, so we'll see how that goes. Every new plug I get, I always give some anti-seize on, especially if it's in aluminum heads. The literature of NGK says they put some sort of coating on these. Well, tell you what, I don't necessarily trust that literature because I've had them get stuck anyway. So do whatever you feel is comfortable. I recommend just a touch anti-seize. Not a lot, just a little. I'm going to actually take cloth and wipe off the excess here. I got a little ahead of myself. I'm going to verify gap. Honda says 39 thou to 43 thou. I'm just going to use a regular feeler gauge. And I'm actually going to gap this just a touch bigger since I am using iridium. But right now we're going to see where it might be at. Okay. Oh, it's almost there. No, not quite. So it's on the smaller end. And how we bend these up is, they actually, if I had the right spark plug tool, which I do not right now, is you bend this electrode. You don't shove anything between here and here. That's a quick way to ruin a brand new spark plug. You're only bending this section here. And with the anti-seize, when you see I put it on, make sure you don't get it up in the engine part. Don't want it on here either, because it conducts electricity. It's full of like nickel or copper, so be aware of that. Alright, open my gap up a little bit. I'm running off the assumption that the smaller electrode off of the iridium is going to allow for a more focused, hotter spark on this. But the tool, essentially what the tool does is it fits in here, or you can grab a really small pair of pliers and then just bend it. And make sure you don't leave any sharp marks. Those sharp marks on this can actually cause pre-ignition inside the engine because they can turn red hot and auto-ignite the fuel. And you don't want to have any prying motion on the center ceramic electrode or the center electrode. It's a quick way to ruin your brand new plug. But now I have the gap set. I decided to set it to 45 just because of that. It's probably not going to make a difference, just how I like to do it. It's also a good idea to try to index your plug. Essentially what that is you see how this has a face and a hook there? You want to try to have this open face facing the air intake. That's usually a pretty good rule of thumb of indexing. The other way you can have it face is the exact opposite. So you could have this side facing away from or toward the intake as well. Several of the numbers I've seen show that either way tends to work quite well. So, and since you're putting them in, you might as well. Usually what you get is just a little more efficient fuel mileage and some cases more power. I'll just thread that in by hand all the way so we don't cross thread it. If you cross thread it, you're having a bad day. It should never go in hard. Should always be able to twist it in by hand. If not, inspect your threads, inspect the plug. Maybe even have a wrong plug. So I got it bombed out. Now we'll go ahead and turn my wrench the right way. Okay, now I feel it hitting that crush bushing. And they say quarter to half a turn. What I like to do is turn them until I feel that crush washer stop crushing. Then I know it's snug. And you'll feel it, it'll suddenly get more tension, I should say. There we go. Quite a bit more tension. That's good enough. Now I have a little bit of oily residue here. I'm going to take some brake clean that off and be right back. They do make a dielectric grease that does go on these. I personally don't recommend it. In my experience, what tends to happen is it'll start seeping out this boot after the engine gets hot, and then it starts attracting dirt. And then once you get dirt, it starts giving a path for moisture and for arcing to happen. So my recommendation is usually just get this nice and clean and dry. Since I got a little had a little anti-seize on my fingers. Still do, actually. It's hard stuff to get off. I'm going to just wipe it off with some brake cleaner, which should remove all the oily residue and everything. And anything that might conduct electricity that I don't want to. There we go. Looks nice and clean. Now we'll go ahead and put our boot back on. You're just going to go until you hear it snap or feel it snap. There we go. I'm just checking the cord down with my hands up here since it's you can't even stick your head down there for any kinks. You don't want a sharp kink. Rotate it accordingly. There we go.